Look at this.
Right now.
Don't look away. This tree is bleeding. Not leaking. Not dripping sap. Bleeding. Dark, thick, crimson red liquid.
Pouring from its bark.
Exactly like blood from a wound. You are not imagining it. This is real. This is happening right now. On a small island in the middle of the Arabian Sea. An island most people have never heard of. An island called Socotra. And this tree has been bleeding like this for over 1,000 years. Scientists who first saw it thought their eyes were lying to them. Local people believed the tree was cursed. Ancient traders thought it held the power of dragons. And for centuries, nobody could explain it. But here is what makes this story even more extraordinary. That red liquid? It is not poison. It is not dangerous. It is one of the most powerful natural substances ever discovered on Earth. It has been used as medicine, as paint, as a weapon, as a beauty product for 3,000 years. And right now, scientists are discovering things about this red liquid that could change modern medicine forever. This is the dragon blood tree, the most alien, most ancient, most mysterious plant on our planet. And its story starts with an island that time forgot. Stay with us, because what you are about to see will change the way you look at trees forever. To understand this tree, you must first understand this island. Socotra. Say that name out loud. Most people have never heard it. And that is exactly the point. Socotra Island sits in the Arabian Sea, 240 kilometers from the coast of Yemen, 900 kilometers from the coast of Somalia. For millions of years, it was completely cut off from the rest of the world. No bridges, no roads, no connections, just ocean on every side. And because of that isolation, something extraordinary happened. Life on Socotra evolved completely alone for 6 to 7 million years, without any outside influence. The result? 37% of all plant species on Socotra exist nowhere else on Earth. Nowhere. Not in Africa. Not in Asia. Not anywhere. Only here, on this one small island. UNESCO declared Socotra a World Heritage Site in 2008. Scientists call it the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean. But even that comparison doesn't do it justice. Because the Galapagos has animals that look unusual. Socotra has trees that look like they came from another planet. The dragon blood tree is the most famous of them all. It has survived here for millions of years. Through extreme heat, through violent monsoon winds, through complete isolation from the rest of life on Earth. And it adapted to all of it in the most extraordinary ways. Ways that science is still trying to fully understand. Do you know how many dragon blood trees are left on Earth? We will tell you. And the number will shock you. Subscribe right now, because this story is only beginning. Now we need to answer the question. The question everyone asks. What exactly is that red liquid? Is it really blood? Of course not. But what it is almost more extraordinary. The red liquid is called dragon's blood resin. It is produced inside special cells in the tree's bark and trunk. When the bark is cut or damaged, these cells rupture, and the dark red resin flows out. Think of it as the tree's immune system. Its natural protection against insects, bacteria, and disease. The red color comes from a compound called dracorubin and another called dracoridin. These are powerful natural pigments, found almost nowhere else in the plant kingdom. But the color is just the beginning. Dragon's blood resin contains over 60 different chemical compounds, anti-inflammatory compounds, antioxidant compounds, antiviral compounds, antibacterial compounds. In clinical laboratory tests, dragon's blood resin has shown the ability to fight certain bacteria that are resistant to modern antibiotics. Let that sink in. A tree that has been bleeding on a remote island for 1 million years may hold answers to one of medicine's greatest modern problems: antibiotic resistance. Ancient traders knew none of this science, but they knew the red liquid worked, and they traded it across the ancient world, from China to Rome, from Egypt to India, for 3,000 years. The price? Wait for weight. Dragon's blood resin was once worth more than gold. Are you still watching?
Good.
Because it gets more extraordinary from here. Now look at where this tree grows. Hard limestone rock. No soil. Temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius. Wind that never stops. Almost no rainfall. For months at a time. By every rule of botany, this tree should not exist. But it does. And the reason why is one of the most extraordinary survival stories in nature. The dragon blood tree evolved a perfect solution to every single problem the island threw at it. Problem 1. No water. The tree's flat umbrella canopy is not just beautiful. It is a water collection system. During Socotra's brief fog season, the flat canopy catches moisture from the air. The water droplets run along the leaves to the branch tips, then fall directly down onto the roots below. The tree waters itself.
From fog.
Problem 2. Too much sun. The flat canopy spreads wide and flat, creating maximum shade over the roots. The roots never overheat, even when the rock surface temperature reaches 60 degrees. Problem 3. Violent monsoon winds. The flat shape offers minimum wind resistance. The wind passes over and around the canopy. Instead of catching it like a sail, the tree bends. It flexes, but it never breaks. Problem 4. Poor rocky soil. The roots spread wide and shallow across the rock surface, finding every microscopic crack, every tiny pocket of trapped mineral. The tree extracts nutrition from rock itself. 4 impossible problems. 4 perfect solutions. Evolved over millions of years of pure survival. This is not just a tree. This is nature's greatest engineer. Humans have known about dragon's blood resin for at least 3,000 years, maybe longer. The ancient Greeks wrote about it. They called it cinnabar of the islands. They used it to treat wounds, to stop bleeding, to heal ulcers and stomach problems. The Romans traded it along the Silk Road. They used it as a red pigment, in paintings, in ceramics, in manuscripts. The deep red color was unlike anything else available. Painters across the ancient world wanted it. Medieval alchemists believed it had magical properties. They used it in potions, in rituals, in spells. They were not entirely wrong. In traditional Socotra medicine, dragon's blood resin is still used today. Applied directly to wounds, it stops bleeding almost immediately. It forms a natural protective layer over the wound, like a biological bandage. Used as a treatment for diarrhea and digestive problems. Used to treat respiratory infections. In the 20th century, a compound derived from dragon's blood resin, called SP-303, was developed into a pharmaceutical drug, approved by the FDA for treating diarrhea in AIDS patients. A tree from a forgotten island in the Arabian Sea produced a compound that became an FDA-approved medicine. In 2023, research published in Nature Microbiology Journal showed dragon's blood resin compounds were effective against 3 strains of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. 3,000 years of traditional knowledge, finally confirmed by modern science. The ancient world knew something. The trees knew something. And we're only now catching up. There's a place on Socotra Island called the Dixon Plateau. It sits 800 meters above sea level, cooler than the coast, wrapped in morning fog during certain seasons. And here, the dragon blood trees grow in their thousands. A full forest. Ancient.
Dense.
Otherworldly. Walking into this forest is unlike any experience on Earth. The canopies of the trees interlock above you, creating a ceiling of flat green discs. The light that filters through is soft and green-gray, like being underwater. The trunks around you are gray and massive. Some of them over a meter thick. Many of them over 300 years old. The oldest trees on Socotra are estimated to be between 600 and 800 years old. They were already ancient when Columbus sailed to America. They were already standing when the Black Death swept through Europe. They were already here when the great libraries of the ancient world still existed. The silence in the Dixon forest is total. No traffic, no machines, no city sounds, only wind, and the creak of ancient bark. And somewhere, the faint sound of red liquid moving inside walls of wood. Researchers who study this forest speak about it in the same way people speak about cathedrals, with reverence, with smallness, because standing among trees that have seen 1,000 years makes you understand something important. We are very new here, and these trees were here long before us, and they will be here long after. Now we have to talk about something difficult, something the scientists don't want to say,
but must.
The dragon blood tree is dying. Not slowly, not gradually.
Fast.
A 2019 scientific survey of Socotra Island counted the dragon blood tree population carefully. The results were devastating. In areas that had dense dragon blood tree forests 50 years ago, the number of trees has declined by over 60%. 60%.
Gone.
And what is replacing them? Nothing. The seedlings are not surviving. In surveys of the Dixon Plateau, researchers found that young dragon blood tree seedlings are dying before they can mature. The reason?
Climate change.
The fog seasons are shorter now. The monsoon patterns have shifted. The brief periods of moisture that the trees evolved to depend on for thousands of years are becoming less reliable, less frequent, less sufficient. Without fog, the canopy fog collection system fails. Without moisture, the seedlings die in their first year. The adult trees can survive for centuries on minimal water, but the young trees cannot. And without young trees growing to replace the old ones, the forest has no future. There is something else.
Cyclones.
Socotra Island has been hit by 2 major cyclones in the last decade. Cyclone Makunu in 2018, Cyclone Kiar in 2019. The island had not experienced a single cyclone in recorded history before 2015. Now they come regularly. And the trees, which evolved with no defense against cyclones, are being destroyed. The most alien forest on Earth is disappearing in our lifetime. But the story does not end with loss, because all over the world, people are fighting for this tree.
Scientists,
conservationists, local communities, fighting to make sure the dragon blood tree
does not disappear in our lifetime.
The first and most important effort is happening right here on Socotra Island. The IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, listed the dragon blood tree as vulnerable in 2004, and conservation programs began immediately. Seed banks were established. Scientists collected dragon blood tree seeds and stored them in controlled conditions. In seed banks in Kew Gardens, London, in the Svalbard Global Seed Vault in Norway, the seeds of this ancient tree now rest safely in one of the world's most secure vaults, inside a mountain in the Arctic. Just in case. But saving seeds is not enough. You cannot save a forest in a freezer. On Socotra Island itself, a nursery program was established in 2016. Local Socotra communities were trained to grow dragon blood tree seedlings in protected nursery conditions, with controlled moisture, shade structures, careful watering. The seedlings are grown for 2 years in the nursery, until they are strong enough to survive outside. Then they are planted back into the wild, into the rocky plateaus where their ancestors grew. It is slow work. A dragon blood tree grows only a few centimeters per year. A forest takes centuries to establish. But every seedling that survives is a victory. And every victory is a reason to keep fighting. We have talked about what dragon's blood resin was used for. But what scientists are discovering right now, in laboratories around the world, goes far beyond anything the ancients imagined. Let us go through the discoveries, one by one. First, anti-cancer research. In 2021, a study from the University of Coimbra in Portugal found that dragon's blood resin compounds showed significant cytotoxic activity against certain cancer cell lines in laboratory conditions. This means the compounds were able to kill cancer cells in a controlled laboratory environment. This is early research, not a cure, but it is a beginning. Second, wound healing acceleration. A 2022 study found that dragon's blood resin, when applied to wounds, significantly accelerated tissue regeneration. The resin stimulates the production of collagen, the protein that builds new skin. Wounds treated with dragon's blood resin healed measurably faster than untreated wounds. Third, antiviral properties. Tests showed dragon's blood resin compounds were active against several common viruses, including strains of the herpes simplex virus. Fourth, something unexpected. Cosmetic companies have begun using dragon's blood resin in high-end anti-aging skin creams. The compounds stimulate skin cell regeneration, the same property that heals wounds, also reduces wrinkles. Dragon's blood extract is now an ingredient in premium beauty products, sold for hundreds of dollars per bottle. A tree on a forgotten island, producing one of the most scientifically valuable substances on Earth. The ancients called it magic. Science calls it biochemistry. Both are correct. We started this story with a question. How does a tree bleed? We have answered that question. But the dragon blood tree has given us so much more. It has given us medicine. It has given us pigment. It has given us a lesson in survival. And now, at the end, it gives us something more important than all of those things. A question. A question every single one of us must answer. What are we willing to do to protect what is ancient, what is irreplaceable, what is extraordinary? The dragon blood tree did not choose to grow on a remote island. It did not choose to be isolated for millions of years. It did not choose to develop this red resin, or this flat canopy, or these rock-gripping roots. It simply survived, with everything it had, against everything the world threw at it, for millions of years. And in doing so, it produced something that no other living thing on Earth produces. Something that heals wounds, that fights bacteria, that paints ancient manuscripts, that colors the faces of warriors, that now fills luxury skincare products, and that, perhaps, will one day help us fight cancers that currently have no cure. All of that, from one tree, on one forgotten island, that almost nobody has heard of. The dragon blood tree has survived everything, except us, except our changing climate, except our warming seas, except our shifting monsoons. This is the tree's final test. And, unlike all the others, this one is not natural. This one is ours. The question is not whether the dragon blood tree can survive. It has survived for millions of years. The question is, will we let it? Share this video.
Tell someone about this tree.
Because a story shared is a tree remembered, and a tree remembered has a chance.